সাবির ভাই গ্রিন, গ্রিন, গ্রিন।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম সবাইকে। আ থ্যাংক ইউ সবাইকে আসার জন্য। ওয়েলকাম টু SS Esports presents GT3 Sim Racing Championship, which is powered by AGR. I am Abir Ahmed from Auto Gaming Rebels. এই টুর্নামেন্টটা বেসিক্যালি অটো গেমিং রেবেলস ম্যানেজ করবে। আমার সাথে আমার সার্ভার ম্যানেজাররা আছে, এরপরে আমার টেক সাপোর্টও আছে। আমরা পুরো এজিআর টিমটাই ম্যানেজমেন্ট টিমটা দেখতেছি। সো আই হোপ ইনশাল্লাহ ইভেন্টটা ভালো হবে। আম- এখন আমরা ড্রাইভিং রুলসের দিকে যাই। সবার আগে তোমাদেরকে দেখাবো হচ্ছে ট্র্যাক লেআউট। টার্ন ওয়ানে এই জিনিসটা কিন্তু খুবই ট্রিকি। ল্যাপ ওয়ানে কিন্তু ব্রেক অনেকটাই কোল্ড থাকে, সো আমি সবাইকে সাজেস্ট করবো যে ল্যাপ ওয়ানে টার্ন ওয়ানে একটু আর্লি ব্রেক করবে, তাহলে অ্যাক্সিডেন্টস কম হবে। আর একটা ট্রিকি কর্নার হচ্ছে যে এই যে 10, 11, 12 এখানে কিন্তু অনেকে সাইড বাই সাইড কর্নার গুলো নিতে চাও, সেটা যখন নিবা একটু কেয়ারফুল থাকবা, পাশে যে গাড়িটা থাকে ওকে জন্য তোমরা এনাফ স্পেস দাও। আর এই 9 to 10 পর্যন্ত যে স্ট্রেটটা, এখানে অনেকে কিন্তু লেট ব্রেক করে, অনেক অ্যাক্সিডেন্টস হয়। সো এখানে একটু কেয়ারফুল থাকবা তোমরা যেন আর্লি ব্রেক করতে পারো। পিং লিমিট নিয়ে যদি আসি, সবারই একটা স্টেবল পিং থাকতে হবে। যদি স্টেবল পিং না থাকে আমরা দেখতে পারবো, তো স্টেবল পিং না থাকলে আসলে রেস করতে তোমরা অ্যালাউড না, ঠিক আছে? আর কোয়ালিফাইং নিয়ে যদি আসি, সব ড্রাইভারদেরকে তোমাদেরকে কোয়ালিফাইং এর সময় রেসপেক্ট করতে হবে। তোমরা যদি হট ল্যাপে না থাকো তাইলে যে হট ল্যাপে আছে ওকে তোমরা জায়গাটা দিয়ে দিবা। আর কোয়ালিফাইং যখন শুরু হবে 20 মিনিট কোয়ালিফাইং, অ্যাটলিস্ট 5, 10 to 1 সেকেন্ড গ্যাপ নিয়ে পিট থেকে বের হবে, সবাই একসাথে বের হয়ে যাওয়ার কোনো দরকার নেই। আর কোয়ালিফাইং এ যদি কোনো ড্যামেজ হয় গাড়ি, সাথে সাথে গাড়িটাকে স্টপ করার দরকার নেই, সবাইকে যারা পিছনে আছে ওদেরকে পাস করতে দিবা। গাড়িটা সেফলি একটা জায়গায় স্টপ করে স্কেপ বাটন ক্লিক দিয়ে ইউ ক্যান জাম্প টু দ্য পিটস, ঠিক আছে? আর কোয়ালিফাইং এ তোমার পিছনে যে হট ল্যাপে আছে এটা তোমরা কিভাবে বুঝবে এটা আমি দেখাচ্ছি। এই যে তোমরা যখন কোয়ালিতে থাকবা বা রেসে থাকবা, তোমাদের পিছনে যদি একটা লিডার থাকে, এখানে কিন্তু একটা ফ্ল্যাগ ডিসপ্লে করবে টপ লেফটে, এই যে ব্লু কালার ফ্ল্যাগটা, এটা এখানেও ডিসপ্লে করে। এরপর তোমার পিছনে যে তোমার পিছনে যে গাড়িটা ওর নামটাও কিন্তু ব্লু হয়ে যাবে। সো এটাও খেয়াল করতে হবে, এটাও খেয়াল করতে হবে, আর ইভেন গাড়িতেও ডিসপ্লে করবে। সো তোমার যে ব্লু ফ্ল্যাগ দেখো রেসের মধ্যে, অ্যাটলিস্ট 3টা কর্নারের মধ্যে জায়গা দিয়ে দিতে হবে কম্পালসারি। পিছনের ড্রাইভারদেরকে হোল্ড করে রাখা যাবে না, ঠিক আছে? বিকজ আমরা 3টা ক্লাসের ড্রাইভার আছে এখানে, প্রো, প্রো এম এন্ড এম। সো অবভিয়াসলি দেখবা, এটা খেয়াল করতে হবে তোমাদেরকে। নেক্সট ফ্ল্যাগ যেটা তোমাদেরকে দেখাবো এটা হচ্ছে ব্ল্যাক এন্ড অরেঞ্জ ফ্ল্যাগ। এই জিনিসটা যখন তোমরা দেখবা ইমিডিয়েটলি গাড়িটা পিট করবা, বিকজ তখন ট্র্যাকের মধ্যে কিন্তু তুমি একটা ডেঞ্জার হ্যাজার্ড। এটা বেসিক্যালি আসে যখন তোমার গাড়িটা হেভিলি ড্যামেজ হয়ে যায়। আর যদি এই জিনিস তুমি যে পিট না করো, তোমাকে কিন্তু ডিএনএফ করে দেওয়া হবে, ডিসকোয়ালিফাইড করে দেওয়া হবে। আর এটা হচ্ছে ইয়েলো ফ্ল্যাগ। ইয়েলো ফ্ল্যাগও টপ লেফটে ডিসপ্লে হয়, গাড়িতেও ডিসপ্লে করবে, এক একটা গাড়িতে এক এক জায়গায় করে। এটা দেখলে গাড়িটা একটু স্লো করবা। ইয়েলো ফ্ল্যাগ কন্ডিশনস পার করার পর এরপর থ্রটলে আবার ফেরত যাবে। এই যেখানে ম্যাপে দেখা যাচ্ছে সামনে যে অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়েছে, এই জন্য এই ইয়েলো ফ্ল্যাগটা ডিসপ্লে হলো। এখন আমরা আমাদের রুল বুকে ফেরত যাই। পাসিং আর ওভারটেকিং নিয়ে যদি আসি, আমি কয়েকটা সিনারিও দেখাবো, এগুলো নিয়ে একটু তোমরা অ্যাটেনশন নিয়ে দেখবা। পাসিং ড্রাইভার হচ্ছে অলওয়েজ রেসপন্সিবল ফর মেকিং আ সেফ পাস এট আ সেফ টাইম। আর অবভিয়াসলি ও যাকে ওভারটেক করতেছে ওকেও তাকে এনাফ স্পেস দিতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? আর রেসিং লাইন নিয়ে যেটা মানুষের মাথায় রাখতে হবে হচ্ছে যে রেসিং লাইনে তোমার রাইট থাকতে হইলে তোমার গাড়িটা অ্যাটলিস্ট সামনের গাড়ির হাফ অ্যালং সাইড হইতে হবে। সো তোমার গাড়িটা যদি সামনের গাড়ি যাকে ওভারটেক করতেছে ওইটার হাফ অ্যালং সাইড না হয়, তাহলে রেসিং লাইনে তোমার রাইটটা নাই, ঠিক আছে? এটা হচ্ছে এখন যে সিনারিটা দেখাবো এটা হচ্ছে বাম পাস। বাম পাস বেসিক্যালি হয় হচ্ছে কাউকে যদি তুমি স্লাইটলি এভাবে বাম করো, যেটা ব্ল্যাক কালারের গাড়ি গ্রিন কালার গাড়িটাকে করলো, জাস্ট হালকা একটা ধাক্কা, এটার কারণে সামনের গাড়িটা আনস্টেবল হয়ে যায়। কিছু এভাবে কাউকে বাম পাস করে তোমরা যদি পাস করে চলে যাও, এটাকে বাম পাস বলে। সো এই জিনিসটা তোমাদেরকে অ্যাভয়েড করতে হবে। তোমরা যদি কাউকে হিট করো, মানে স্লাইটলি, যেটা করতে হবে থ্রটলটা ছেড়ে দিবা, সামনের যে গাড়িটা আছে ওকে পাস করতে দিবা, পিছনে যে গাড়িটাকে পাস করতে দিবা, এরপর ইউ ক্যান গো ব্যাক টু রেসিং। এটা হচ্ছে আসলে স্পোর্টসম্যানশিপ আর কি। বাট তোমরা যদি কাউকে টিবোন করো, মানে অনেক জোরে হিট করো, এটা ডিফারেন্ট সিনারি। বাম পাসের সময় এই জিনিসটা করবা, পিছের ড্রাইভারটাকে যাইতে দিবা। আর একটা জিনিস মাথায় রাখতে হবে, কাউকে হিট করছো, ঠিক আছে, স্লাইটলি পিছনে অনেক গাড়ি আছে, সাথে সাথে জায়গা দেওয়ার দরকার নেই, যারা পিছনে আছে ওদেরকে যাইতে দিবা। এরপর যাকে বাম পাস করছো ওকে সেফ কন্ডিশনে গিয়ে জায়গাটা দিয়ে দিবা। ভেরি ইজি। ডিফেন্ডিং এ যদি আসি, এই জিনিসটা অ্যাপ্লিকেবল অনেক কিছুতেই হয়। সবার আগে দেখাবো হচ্ছে দ্য ওয়ান মুভ রুল। ওয়ান মুভ রুল হচ্ছে বেসিক্যালি স্ট্রেট অ্যাপ্লিকেবল হয়। বার্সেলোনাতে 2টা স্ট্রেট আছে। সো তোমরা তোমাদের স্লিপস্ট্রিম যেন তোমরা ব্রেক করতে চাও, যদি ব্রেক করতে চাও তাইলে একবারই ডিরেকশন চেঞ্জ করতে পারবে, যেটা গ্রিন কালার গাড়িটা করছে। একবারের বেশি ডিরেকশন চেঞ্জ করা আসলে অ্যালাউড না, তখন ওটাকে ইলিগাল বা অফেন্স হিসেবে কাউন্ট করা হবে। রেসিং অ্যালংসাইড অ্যানাদার কার, এটা একটা আরো একটা ফটো, এটা একটা ইনসিডেন্ট বেসিক্যালি। এটা হচ্ছে বেসিক্যালি, এই ফটোটা দেওয়া হচ্ছে বেসিক্যালি তোমরা যেন এই ইনসিডেন্টটা অ্যাভয়েড করতে পারো। তোমরা যখন কাউকে ওভারটেক করে ইনসাইডে মুভ করবা, হেলিকপ্টারে কিন্তু ব্লিঙ্ক করে পাশে যে গাড়িটা আছে। সো এই জিনিসটা অ্যাভয়েড করতে হবে। হেলিকপ্টার যদি দেখো তাহলে তোমাদের জন্য ক্যালকুলেশনটা ইজিয়ার হবে। ইনসাইডে মুভ করার সময় যখন তোমরা পাশে একটা গাড়ি থাকবে, পাশের গাড়িটাকে এইভাবে হিট জিনিসটা যেন না হয়, এটা অ্যাভয়েড করবা। অ্যাটাকিং নিয়ে একটু আগেও বলছি যে রেসিং লাইনে রাইট কতটুকু কার কতটুকু, সো ওটা নিয়ে একটা ছোট একটা সিনারিও দেখাই। এখানে কিন্তু রেসিং লাইনে রাইট ছিল না পিছনের গাড়িটার, বাট সে তাও গাড়িটা এখানে ঢুকানোর চেষ্টা করছে, অ্যাক্সিডেন্টটা হয়েছে, ঠিক আছে। আর যেটা বলতেছিলাম, ওভারটেক করতে চাইলে হাফ অ্যালংসাইড থাকতে হবে, ওইটা এখানে ক্লিয়ারলি বোঝা যাচ্ছে। সো এটাই। বাট অনেক সময় হাফ অ্যালংসাইড থাকার পরে অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়, তখন অনেক সময় রেসিং ইনসিডেন্টও হয়, অনেক সময় বেশি হেভিলি ডিফেন্ড করলে তখন যে ডিফেন্ড করতেছে ওরও মিস্টেক হয়। সো এটা ইনসিডেন্ট টু ইনসিডেন্ট ভ্যারি করে। সো যে ওভারটেক করতেছে, যে ডিফেন্ড করতেছে, অবশ্যই ট্রাই করবা যেন এনাফ স্পেস থাকে। আর যে ডিফেন্ড করতেছো, খেয়াল রাখবা যেন তুমি পাশের গাড়িটাকে যেন স্কুইজ না করো, বিকজ সে তোমাকে যে প্রোটেস্ট করে, তোমার শুধু শুধু 5 সেকেন্ড, 10 সেকেন্ড, 15 সেকেন্ড, অনেক সেকেন্ডের পেনাল্টি হইতে পারে। এই ফটোটা হচ্ছে বেসিক্যালি সাইড বাই সাইড রেসিং এর একটা ফটো, ওরা একসাথে দুইটা কর্নার নিল। সো এই কর্নারটা নেওয়ার সময় কিন্তু দেখা যাচ্ছে খুবই সুন্দর মতো ওরা নিচ্ছে, এই গাড়িটা পাশের গাড়ির জন্য এনাফ জায়গা রাখছে, নেক্সট কর্নারে গিয়ে এই গাড়িটা পাশের গাড়িটার জন্য এনাফ জায়গা রাখছে। সো মাথায় যখন সাইড বাই সাইড থাকবে, এটা মাথায় রাখতে হবে যেন তুমি পাশের গাড়ির জন্য এনাফ জায়গা রাখো নেক্সট কর্নারে, ওকে যেন তুমি গিয়ে বাইরে পুশ না করো। এটা হচ্ছে দ্য আন্ডারকাট ম্যানিউভার। এটা হচ্ছে বেসিক্যালি ইনসাইড লাইনটা ইউজ করে করতে হয় পিছন থেকে। এই যে রেড কালার গাড়ি, এটা করার সময় তোমরা একটু সেফলি করবা। আর যদি রেসে কোনো ইনসিডেন্ট হয়, মাইক আনমিউট করা অ্যালাউড না। আমাদের একটা প্রোটেস্ট চ্যানেল আছে, ওখানে আমি লিখে দিব কিভাবে করতে হয়, সো ওইটা মাথায় রাখবা। আর ফ্ল্যাগ রুলস নিয়ে তো আমি বুঝালামই, ব্লু ফ্ল্যাগ, ইয়েলো ফ্ল্যাগ, ব্ল্যাক এন্ড অরেঞ্জ ফ্ল্যাগ। যারা এম ক্লাসের আছো, প্রো এম এর আছো, প্রোতে আছো, সবাই এই জিনিসটা একটু মাথায় রাখবা। রিকভারি ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। তোমাদের গাড়ি যদি ঘুরে যায় রেসে, ফুল ব্রেক প্রেস করে দাঁড়ায় যাবা, যারা পিছনে আছে ওদের সবাইকে যাইতে দিবা, এরপর গাড়িটা স্টার্ট দিয়ে ইউ ক্যান গো ব্যাক টু রেসিং প্লিজ। ইফ তোমার গাড়ি যদি স্পিন করে, গাড়িটা আগে পিছে করবা না, পিছনের মানুষ যে আছে ওকে যাইতে দিবা, এটা খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট। এটার কারণে কিন্তু অনেক বেশি অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়। সো ব্রেক প্রেস করে দাঁড়ায় যাবা, যারা আছে ওদেরকে পাস করতে দিবা, এরপর ইউ ক্যান গো ব্যাক টু রেসিং। আর এটা হচ্ছে একটা আনসেফ রিজনের সিনারিও। তুমি যদি অফ ট্র্যাক যাও রেড কালার গাড়িটার মতো, পিছনে যারা আছে ওদেরকে পাস করতে দিবা, এরপরে ইউ ক্যান গো ব্যাক টু রেসিং, ঠিক আছে। এভাবে আনসেফ ভাবে রিজয়েন করবা না। এসব জিনিসের জন্য অনেক জায়গায় কিন্তু মানে রেস ব্যানও দেওয়া হয়। আর এই রেসে কোনো পিট স্টপ নাই, সো পিট স্টপ নিয়ে কিছু বললাম না, জাস্ট পিট করলে পিট থেকে বের হওয়ার সময় যারা লিডার আছে ওদেরকে আগে পাস করতে দিবা। আর আরেকটা জিনিস হচ্ছে যে আমাদের ইভেন্টটা স্পন্সর করছে হচ্ছে জিটি সম্বিত, সো প্লিজ কাইন্ডলি ওর পেজটা তোমরা ফলো করবা। এটা ওরই প্ল্যান ছিল যে লাইভ স্ট্রিম থাকবে, এটা ফার্স্ট টাইম একটা এসএসসি টুর্নামেন্ট হচ্ছে দেশে, সো অবভিয়াসলি প্লিজ ফলো হিম। আর এখন আমার টিম থেকে কেউ যদি কিছু অ্যাড করতে চায়, প্লিজ অ্যাড সামথিং। থ্যাংক ইউ।
All right, so this is Noor Nabi Nirad. I'm your host. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to the management team for making this happen. Now, let me address one crucial thing: self-justice. Okay, so এটা যেটা আমি বের করে এনেছি, এটা হচ্ছে from the previous tournament that happened last year. এটা AGR থেকে করা হয়নি, এই কারণে আমি ওদেরকে shout outটা ওভাবে দিচ্ছি না. However, out of respect to the last tournament's race marshals, I am cancelling driver number 29 from ATXR Racing, Antor Bhuya's registration. Because even though he was not at fault, Abir Ahmed was at fault and Abir Ahmed was penalized. Antor Bhuya নিজের থেকে self justice exact করেছে, যেটার কারণে previous race marshals were disrespected and overall রেসের বদনাম হয়েছে, যেটা আমরা চাই না বর্তমানে হোক, which is why I am withdrawing his registration. I do apologize for this, but we do have to set an example. আপনার যে রেজিস্ট্রেশনের কস্টটা ছিল, we will refund it. Thank you. We are going to go live. I am going to release the server details now. Let's move towards the race live.
Welcome to the opening event of Slipstream Esports, brought to you here on Assetto Corsa. 4 rounds, 6 races, GT3 machinery, and an elite level of competition. This is organised by Auto Gaming Rebels, which is home to internationally having Bangladeshi sim racers, including drivers from the FIA Motorsport Games. This broadcast is sponsored by Sunbit and broadcasted by Zenetic Esports. It is a historic night today, as it is the first competition of ACC in Bangladesh to have live commentary, as I have reliably been informed. So it is a pleasure to be making some history here tonight with you, the viewers who join us. Welcome everyone to qualifying. We are taking a look at live pictures. I am your commentator, Omi, and I'll be talking you through the action this season. We are focusing right now on Hussein as he navigates the 16th and final corner at New Holland and makes his way onto the start-finish line. We'll have the race, of course, coming later on, but first of all, just before that, we have got 20 minutes of qualifying, which is already underway. Right before this, the drivers have had 10 minutes of practice, along with also a driver's briefing too. So they have had plenty in the case of practice and preparation for this. And now it is time for them to put it all on the line. So the drivers just making their way through on out laps and beginning to push on. With the amount of drivers that we have got, you can see 20 there on the leaderboard. It can mean that you can get plenty of traffic issues, as well as different drivers on different run plans get into each other's path. But that is just the glory. That is just the glory of qualifying. The drivers have also had a briefing too earlier on to inform them about what they can do and what is within the rules. So, this is turn number 10. Of course, Formula 1 take the outer layout now. We, of course, stick with the chicane. And then we also make our way, then in a couple of moments, through to a chicane, which is something else that Formula 1 currently don't do, but used to as well. We're going to keep it to the chicane because the drivers can still run very, very close to one another, and they can find themselves running very close, and you know, it keeps them closely bunched together, making their way onto the start-finish straight. You're taking a look right now at Schaffen into the braking zone. New fastest laps coming in. So we have got lap times being set. Here is Sombit. Joanne then trying to, well, make an overtake into the chicane. Luckily the traffic nicely out of the way. That's exactly what you want as a driver. But let's see what Duan does out of the final turn now. And then it is foot to the floor as you get ready to come over the line. And he goes P5, the second slowest time at the moment. Ahmed came over the line as well a few moments ago, about 3 seconds off the pace. So that is all the drivers that are out there on the circuit, but let's run you through them in detail. Here is our different drivers across the different classes. So in the pro class, you have got Omar, Sabiq, Bin Sultan, Hussein, Ahmed, and then Abdullah Ayaz, Shafin Qais, Zayan Intaz, and Rahman as well. That is the pro class. In terms of the pro am, you have got Buyan, along with Zaman, Divan, Rahman, and then Yasir, and then we've got Ashfika Rahman and Ali Arman, then Mahir Ahmed and Marash Nasser, and then that's completed by Nabi Nurad. And then over to the AM, we have got Junaid, along with Muhammad Rahman and Mahab, and then finally Hussein, which completes the drivers that are going to be taking part. We did that nice and quickly for you, so we could take you straight back over to the action and take you straight over to Omar being in second position. 1 minute 44.960, but the lap time to beat is set by Bin Sultan, who has got a 1 minute 44.907. Here is Shadman Sabik going very quickly through the opening sector, or did go very quickly through the opening sector, I should say. As he now gets ready to climb up the uphill part that you have down into now turn number 10, earlier on turn 9. So the order currently as it stands, Sultan is at the front of the field, Omar is in second, Hussein is in third, then it is Sabik, Ahmad, and then Zaman. So that is your top 6 at the moment. You're taking a look at P16 right now. Zayan Intaz just rotating his way by through at the moment. He's still yet to get a lap time on the board. So the drivers that you can see below 15th still chasing just any time. Mahbub and Rahman, both probably with lap times today, will want to further better. They find themselves slightly more off the pace. Continue following Intas through. So we are, of course, here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia to start our season. It's round number 1. And this is a step into the unknown. It's a brand new tournament. And it means it's a fresh opportunity for any one of these drivers to emerge on top. But we start our journey here in Spain. We have got 4 rounds, as I mentioned in the intro, but we have got 6 races in total. We will be heading over to Le Castellet at Paul Ricard for round number 2. And we'll have 2 races there. So 2 races coming your way around that circuit. We'll have a broadcast for you in race 2 and then race 3. You won't be able to see the action, but of course we'll inform you of everything that happened in the race after, which is Zandvoort. And then we'll have 2 races at Spa to wrap up and crown our winner of the tournament. The first race at Spa will not be broadcasted either, so two out of the 6 races you won't be able to see, but we've got 4 coming your way on screen, and I can guarantee you we'll be keeping you up to date in terms of everything that goes on in those 2 races that you cannot actually see. But what you can see right now is qualifying, and a qualifying session, which now has Shadman Sabik. He won a 1 minute 44.840, so he has got the fastest time. Sultan momentarily had that earlier on, he's in second, and then it is Omar in third. Zubair Zaman making their way by as they stand on the power. Bit of a twitch, bit of a slide, fighting away with the car as they climb up to turn 9. Hitting the apex on the way in, slightly wide on the way out. And then we're getting ready for a braking zone. Braking zone comes up nice and early. Navigated decently as well. Once again, just a bit of a fight with the car as they stand on the power. Let's now follow NASA because, well, he was in a bit of a fight. He's now calmed down as the camera cuts to them at the moment. But yes, those two are going for it. So interesting stuff. Okay, well, we run you through our calendar that we have coming the driver's way and what you have to look forward to this season. But we are only very much just getting started, and it is fantastic to see how everyone's going to get on. Now, traffic can be a bit of a problem, as we've already described to you at times. It means that you're getting a bit of a pile up at the final part of the lap, but the driver's doing well to get out of the way, which is exactly what we want to see. Getting close and contacting qualifying, my word. Mabub going off the road slightly. Couldn't quite identify who the other driver was at that moment. But yes, a bit of contact made into the chicane. And that is not what you want at all. So all the drivers have done well to keep out of each other's way. And then we're getting into a bit of a kerfuffle near the end of the lap. This is turn number 1. This is the start of the lap. And this is Ashfika Rahman making their way by. So the opening few corners. Fantastic sights and sounds as we go down to turn number 5. Then get up through the gears as Intaz goes through the same challenge that we were just focusing on a few moments ago. Turn number 3 at Renault. Nicely, well, I was about to say nicely taken, and then slightly wide, slightly in deep. So I spoke a little, was going to speak a little bit too soon, but luckily I could stop myself as I saw the car running a bit wide. But the drivers do have a lot of time to play with. 20 minutes, I mean, it may not seem like a lot, but at the same time, there is a lot of other competitions I'm sure these drivers have done where, you know, it's a lot less the time. Any form of racing, you sometimes don't get the luxury of that entire 20 minutes that they're getting. And then, of course, on top of that, they should already be embedded into the circuit to some degree, because you have to remember they've also then had 10 minutes of practice before that. So they're building themselves in very early on from practice, then trying to nail qualifying, and then, of course, going into race mode. And we haven't got the most amount of races. Slightly wide there for Mohammed, going off the road at turn 1. But yes, going back to my point that I was trying to say, we don't have the most amount of races. They do get 6, but once again, they would have, I'm sure, done other sorts of competitions which, you know, have much more races, much more rounds. So every round is very important and it's very critical. So if you have a poor round here, that already puts you on the back foot. So there is a lot to think about and a lot to consider for these drivers. With the way that they approach this, every round counts. So quite literally, we're already into push mode from this moment onwards. They've got 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go of this qualifying session. We are focusing now on Zohaib Hussein. He, well, hopes the traffic is out of the way and then sends himself into the corner of turn 10 over the little mini sausage curb that we have over there. Then you're getting ready to bring it up to the gears now for another little stop as the chicane comes. We take a look from the rear of how he tackles the chicane. Nicely done. Once again, just fighting away with the car as he gets on the power. And now it is foot planted as he will come over the line. We look over to Intaz though to see whether he can do anything. So, Shadman Sadiq is P1. We've got Tamjid bin Sultan P2. Omar is P3. Hussein's P4. Intaz is P5. That's your top 5 at the moment. Ahmed, Ayan, and then Ishraq Rahman goes as Sombit Duran goes to 8th position, and then Ishraq Rahman 9th, and Tamim Nasser P10. That was the order I was trying to say, and then we get an improvement. We get an improvement momentarily that comes in, as well as I try and complete the order for you. But expect the order to continue to change because we have got 5 minutes to go. And there we go, fastest of all, at the front of the field. Omar finds the time. It is a 1 minute 44.832. So a new benchmark at the front. 8 thousandths of a second between first and second place. As cars gone slightly deep and, well, teleported themselves back to the pit lane out of harm's way critically. Ishraq Rahman then. What do they do? What do they have for us? Out of New Holland. How close do you brave it through to the gravel? P7. P7 is the improvement. Off time. Then they get out of the way. So, things begin to calm down a little bit as you've had, well, 60 minutes of pushing, and now it's all about the final, well, the final 2 minutes, I'd say, of Of course, the drivers have to be prepared before that. They need to make sure that they get over the line in time. So, Sultan then, currently looking good. A 1 minute 44.907. If you are in third, it puts you within range. And that is so important. That is so important to be just in the mix. You don't know what's going to happen by the time you get down to turn 1. So you want to be there. And at least if you're not in the mid-pack, then I guess that keeps you out of harm's way to some degree. He's trying to, in fact, make a bit of an overtake. And nicely done. Not fought for by the other driver. Which, of course, right now, it is qualifying, believe it or not. Oh, spinning in the background. As we take a look at Zombit Durand, we had a car that lost it. We had a car that momentarily lost it, as well as they made their way by. For any Formula 2 viewers, we've had, well, cars go off there in a big way in 2024. You had Martins Hauger. You know, at the start of Formula 1 races, sometimes as well, you can get cars out there, and, you know, in the GT Open Championship too. So there's plenty of races and plenty of different series that have seen drivers end up in the gravel on the exit of 2. We're going to hope that none of these drivers here with us today join that list. Very easy to do. Someone has absolutely destroyed some of the boards down there to make it a bit of a mess on the run towards turn 10, just on the exit of 9. But we've only got 2 minutes and 20 seconds of qualifying to go. The opening qualifying session of Slipstream Esports. And it all begins here with GT3 machinery. And high level of competition is immediately on the line. You can see that we've only got 8 milliseconds. It really is that close between first and second place. Aber Ahmad in your picture right now. So we get on the power up and ready to hit the anchors for the first turn, which opens up the lap here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya circuit. And then the long turn number 3. Very easy to run in deeper than you'd like, but that was well handled. Well handled at the moment. Ahmed now sends it into the corner. You can see as we followed him, having to kind of fight away with the car in a bit of a way. Climb up all the way to turn number 7. And he's hit the apex not quite nicely there, to be fair, on the way in and on the way out. This is turn 9. Went as wide as possible without hitting the gravel, and that's exactly what he precisely does there. So this looks like a tidy lap. This looks like a good lap. It's a 30.142 in the first sector. It is a 40.625 in the second sector. The third sector, your answer is about to come your way in a few moments, because that is where he is at right now. Through the chicane. It has looked tidy when we've been following it. But is it going to be tidy with the stopwatch and what it's going to tell us when we add the entire lap up? That's the question that remains. Over the line we go. P5. P5. The checkered flag is flying at the end of qualifying. Omar is at the front. Shadman Sadiq is P2. Those two are in the pit lane and done. Does Sultan or Hussein have anything to try and do to change? Sultan can't. He's already taken the checkered flag. Hussein, I guess he could be one. He's on the circuit right now. So we'll have to wait and see whether he has anything. But we're focusing on Ahmed. I think that might be it. So it doesn't appear like anyone else is pushing at the moment. We join Hussein now. We'll see whether he can produce anything at the end. I don't think he's currently setting the timing boards are like. We're pushing on. But wow, what a qualifying session. Interesting running from start to finish. And it will leave us set for hopefully a good race. P4 Hossein. There we go. You can see the checkered flag on all of the drivers' names. And as we look at Ayaz, who's also now in the pit lane. There we go. That is qualifying complete. Here is your circuit then in detail. Right ahead before the race. You open up at Elf Corner, turn number 1. Turn 3 is the long corner of Renault, and then up to Repsol. Down through 5, and then turn 6 and turn 7, and you're at Campsa by the time you get to 9. Through 10. And then the final few corners, you've got the chicane, and then the lap is rounded out at New Holland. And that completes a lap of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. What an incredible circuit. It really is for racing. So, what a qualifying. Really close running between the drivers. And now it is preparation time for the race. It is all to play for. And as so far this has proven, it is wide open. And you could get so many different contenders by the time the checkered flag comes. We only have a few more minutes to go. So prepare yourself for the opening competition. A reminder of the calendar if you are just joining us. We begin here at Barcelona. We head over to Paul Ricard for 2 races, then Zandvoort, and then Spa. But here is your grid. Omar is on pole position. Sabiq alongside, and then it is Sultan and Hussein, who are your top 4. They are the top 2 rows on the grid. Abir Ahmad is P5, and then it is Zayan Intaz P6, Abdullah Ayaz P7, and Ishraq Rahman is P8. Those are the next 2 then, in terms of the rows. Sombit Duran, P9, and Tamim Nasso, we saw a bit of in qualifying. He'll start P10, let's see whether he can try and move forward in the race. So, an interesting row of the grid as it gets very close with live pictures as they make their way through. Zubayr Zaman is P11, and then Sayem Rahman, who is P12. Ashfika Rahman is P13, in the number 64 car, and then directly in behind, Mahir Ahmad goes from 14th in position. Shafin is P15, and then it is Ali Arman next up, who will be a very interesting driver come the race when trying to move forward. That applies to all of the drivers, including Mabab and also Nabi Nirad. So keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on all of these drivers as trying to move forward and trying to make up for what was a bad qualifying for them. Next up is Mohammed Rahman and Sanjed Junaid. Then Mashfiq Yasser is 21st in position. And just like that, we have run through our entire order who will take the start of this race, and it will take the start of a new beginning. Here is the driver who will be leading the field away, as they all back up and get themselves into position. Oh, you can tell they are desperate to get on with it. You can tell that they really want to get on with this. It is very nearly time to get going. You make your way through the chicane, 2 by 2 formation, as they all fight away for position because they are desperate to get this going. Out of turn number 16 at New Holland, Omar backing them up. It is very nearly time to go racing for the first time in Slipstream Esports. Omar at the front, Sabik alongside. We are underway for the new tournament as we leave the line, and we're 3 wide immediately. Sabik trying to create some room for himself and trying to move through. In the middle, you've also got the driver of Sabik momentarily losing out. Omar finds himself in the lead. Off the road we go with a couple of contenders as we look to rejoin and contact. Contact immediately. Sabik is going to be dropping down the order after some contacts made. Sultan in the lead. Then it's Omar. Ahmed has got up to 3rd. Hussein is 4th. Then it's Ayaz, Intaz, Diwan, Nasser. Nasser's got past Diwan as we speak as they're going wheel to wheel. Fantastic stuff to start the race. Not if you are one of the drivers who are spinning to the back. What a dramatic opener to the contest that was. You could tell by how they were all already basically nearly making contact in the lead up to the final corners and the race getting underway, that everyone was so desperate to get a move on and to get going with some overtaking. Sultan moves up 2 places to get to the lead. We mentioned that it was so important to be near the front, and we said those words exactly and precisely for him. And that is the reason why. Because he was able to make it 3 wide, and he was able to capitalize. You are looking from the back of Rahman at the moment. That's Ishraq Rahman to be specific, as Nabi Nirad is fighting their way by. So, through the chicane, as this battle goes on in live pictures. Not the only fight going on. Wheel to wheel. So that is Shadman Sabik now looking to try and recover. And he's got to try and gain a couple of positions. Oh, that's a brilliant line. Brilliant line to get through on Junaid. And Ashrika Rahman is doing the same. Mabub has lost out a couple of positions. And we're very nearly 3 wide ahead. So that is Shafin up against Arman, up against Ahmad. And it's super tight. Let's hit the brakes for turn 1 and see who's going to be ahead out of the entire gaggle that was making their way there. And it is Arman who has got the position. So, make our way by. Oof. Zaman slow there momentarily. That's the car that we just passed. NASA P6. So everyone beginning to settle in as we show you NASA making their way by through helicopter cam. Fantastic to see the different speeds and the different gaps between all the drivers. Shadman Sabik down 14 positions, definitely the biggest loser at the race start in terms of starting positions, because we saw what happened. We saw the battle, and with so many in the mix and us going 3 wide, it was always going to end up in that way, wasn't it? Oh, that's tight. That is Zombie Duran trying to make a move on Zaman. Sultan then comes over the line with the fastest lap momentarily. It's now going to Uzair Omar, who is P2. So could there be a battle for the lead developing? let's follow this battle. This is Intaz, who is right behind Sombit Devan. The gap is very, very close between them, which is why we're focusing on this battle specifically out of all, because it's the closest one on the circuit, or one of the closest ones on the circuit at the moment. Intaz trying to stand on the power. If he can remain there, he's going to have a chance inside. No, he's going to wait for it. Sensible driving, because you know there's going to be plenty of chances and you don't want to eliminate yourself from running higher up by doing anything wild and audacious at this stage. It would definitely not be the way to go, I can assure you that. Let's head down to turn 10. Can be one of the main overtaking opportunities in the race. Directly behind us, Sabiq goes a little bit wide. Really good speed under braking. Fantastic to watch and see directly from the rear of Arman's car there. And that was, yeah, very late on the brakes. Impressive stuff. And, you know, sometimes it can be a case of if you can carry all the speed into the corner, but can you carry it out? And considering a few corners on, he's making a move. Absolutely, that's the case. Brilliant speed carried. And a brilliant move executed in the end for Sabiq. Shadman Sabiq trying to make a bit of a recovery in this race, and he's up to P14. Ali Arman, P15. And then it is Shafin, Ashfika Rahman, then Ahmed, Junaid, Mabab, and Rahman, who is in the pit lane as well. So, race beginning to just calm down for a moment, and that's a perfect time to show you a replay. So this is a replay of what happened earlier on. So quite a few battles were taking place on the circuit. And this was one of them. Oh, contact. So a couple of cars losing it in all directions. So it was a chaotic start. You had a car spinning on the outside. You had two on the inside. It's of course always wild in the mid-pack, which is why qualifying was so important to try and get yourself higher up in the field. And if the drivers did that, I guess they could have minimized the risk. I can't say that it would completely remove the risk, because number one, it's racing, so anything can happen. But also number two, we literally saw the leaders basically at the front make a bit of contact. So you're not safe in any specific position, but yeah, you are definitely more vulnerable if you are in the mid-pack when there's not a few cars you're having to worry about, but rather multiple cars that you're focused on. Brilliant speed of the cars as they head into the opening turns. You're taking a look at Tamim Nasser and the number 91. He's 2 seconds behind Ayaz at the moment. It is close further back between Sombit Devan and Zayan Intaz. It is 0.4 of a second between those two drivers. Make that 0.3, make that 0.2, and I think we're getting to an overtake. Intaz looking up the inside further back. Is he going to be able to get there? Don't think so. Don't think so. Couldn't get there. As ignore that, that's just a bit of traffic that they're clearing the driver, so it's not for actual position. The switch that you've just seen on circuit. Let's go and look as well. Sombit Devan's dropping down my timing board at the moment. Wonder whether anything has taken place. It looks to be all up and running now. We join him live, but surely there's been an error. And surely there's been a bit of a mistake. Let's see whether we can get a replay of that at some point. So we'll have to wait and see whether a replay can provide us with any form of information as to what took place at that moment. But yeah, he's lost a couple of positions as we cut in and joined it live to see what was going on. Omar with the fastest lap. as he looks to try and give chase to our leader at the front of the field. Looking though at Ahmad P18, having lost 4 positions off the race start. Same applies to the driver directly ahead of Ashrika Rahman. So you can see a huge differential. Yasser has gained 7, so he's had a good start. He's been able to capitalize on plenty of chaos that has been taking place around him and near him. We join the battle for the lead. Omar looking to give chase to Sultan. This is the fight going on for the win. With 35 minutes to go on the clock, you can see top left of screen. So we have done 10 minutes of racing, just over that now. And we've got the 2 drivers super close together. Ferrari versus Audi at the front. Of course, GT3 machinery across the entire field. But let's see how this fight unfolds. Through the chicane. Is this the first chance? The gap is still 1 second. Gotta be very, very careful. In terms of if you're Sultan, that to make sure there's no mistake, or the gap will come down in a major way, but also the gap is, you know, not in the few tenths that possibly, let's say, Shafin is to the back of Ahmad on our timing board. So it's not that dangerously close, but it is close. It went up to 2 seconds earlier on. It's now at 1 second exactly as we speak. And it's ebbing and flowing. So by no means is Sultan safe. You have to remember that Omar did out-qualify Sultan when it came to qualifying. So he's already shown the outright pace across today. But it is more a case of... in the race, everything can maximize... everything can equalize out, rather. And it means it's not always the same story. Talking about... story. This is a great storyline right now going on. Rahman and, well, Rahman as well. So you've got Siam and Ishraq both battling. Number 53 versus number 77. Rahman, that is Ishraq, that was momentarily wide into turn number 4 on the circuit. And, oh! That's a switch in position coming in, but that was very late. That was a very urgent and sudden break, as once again our boards get absolutely destroyed further back. But yes, Siam Rahman has lost that positions, and we're getting to a bit of a brawl in the braking zone. So Nirad is dropping down a little bit. It's a gaggle in behind as Rahman tries to break clear and pull away. Now we go back to single file into the chicane. Are we going to see any form of passes down this straight coming up? The answer you'd assume is yes. So let's see whether that will be the case. Nirad is looking close. He was the car that... I know it was hard to work out who was where in that battle. There were so many of them. But Nirad, I can assure you, definitely was a driver who lost a couple of positions. Now can he make it up? He's getting dangerously close. Out of the slipstream. Going to the inside. And it will be tight between them. They will meet together on the apex. And it will still be tight stuff. But inside line. And the position for Nirad. That's a switch that has come in. But Siam Rahman is going to be desperate to come charging and fighting back. Is that wide? Is that deep? It's not the ideal line, I can assure you. And it means they're back together. And Nirad has lost out. He's lost out the position once again. Fantastic little duel going on. Let's go even further back in the field. Sombit Devan's dropped down again. I believe he's had a spin somewhere. And here he is. Yes, so he's had a spin. And with the spin, he finds himself much more down the order. And right in front of us, Rahman goes round. Ashfika Rahman goes round at turn number 9 on the exit there. So not what he wants at all. Definitely not what you want to be seeing, as there's a lot of good battling going on, but that means that you want to push on more and more and more. And it is leading to errors and mistakes like what you've just seen in this lap precisely. I mean, this lap I think has showed it perfectly. You've had quite a lot of errors going on across the board. We've got a 1.4, 1.3 second gap at the front between our top two. Omar, though, has got the fastest lap of the race. You are looking at the lap set by the drivers right now. Everyone bar the top two and, of course, Shadman Sabiq. Everyone bar those drivers are not in the 1 minute 44s. They are in a lap time somewhere beneath that. So once again, what we saw in qualifying is translating into lap times in the race, in terms of you've got the same drivers who are going quite quickly. NASA's lost a couple of positions, so I wonder whether he's also had a spin just now. Talking about a spin, my word, Omar nearly lost the car. Okay, this is the number 72 then. What have they been up to? We're heading down to turn 10. Ooh, they're going to get a bit of a tap. A bit of a tap from behind. So that was really, really dramatic stuff momentarily for Intaz up against Zaman. That battle was, and you're taking a look at it live. Okay. Over the line we go once more. There's a battle going on here, but I want to look further back to Shadman Sabiq. Driver who was rapid in qualifying. Rapid in the race, continuing his recovery drive with another place. And Shadman Sabiq moves up to 8th position. NASA drops down to 9th. And I wonder how much further can Shadman Sabiq go. He's still got just under 30 minutes to go. So all to play for as they send it down into the braking zone of turn number 5. So many different interesting corners on this circuit. In these cars, sometimes it's not specifically just turn 1, which can be overtaken zones, but because of the differential in pace as well. So for like someone like Shadman Sabiq, you're just gaining everywhere, and then wherever you can find a gap, you're going to throw the car in, obviously. If it is, of course, somewhat sensible. Shadman Sabiq is a great driver. He'll know what he's doing. As we see, another place taken. Shadman Sabiq now has to try and get past. He's got to try and get past Zayman ahead, and then he's got 8 seconds further up the road to the next car. Here comes Shadman Sabiq. Onto the straight, and you know what that means. He's behind a car. You can tell that an overtake is coming. He's forced the long way round, the outside line. It'll be a battle on the brakes. How brave is he feeling on the brakes? It's not even going to be a battle. It's not even going to be a contest. But that is super late on the brakes. There, from Intaz up against Zayman. So, my word, was it close between them. So Shadman Sabiq gets by. Okay, we kind of expected that. The battle that began to develop further back, that was quite sudden. But that's exactly what you're going to see in the Slipstream Esports competition, the tournament. It's just close racing. And the unexpected being the expected, really. because it has been so unpredictable so far. Okay. Things beginning to settle down momentarily, as the drivers just look to try and get through this phase of the race. All eyes and all attention is on bringing this one home. And of course in the highest possible position. Very important to add as well. Shadowman Tabik, by the way, has, well, the gap was 8 seconds, it's now 6.6. So he's closing it in. He's definitely trying his best, isn't he, to move further forward and chase after Abdullah Ayaz, who is the car ahead. Okay, you are looking now at Saman looking in the mirrors. Intaz looking to dive up the inside. That'll get super close between the two of them. They will meet on the apex momentarily, and then it's a drag race. A drag race which doesn't see anything take place. However, Ishraq Rahman is 3/10 away to NASA, so there's two fights going on. And Intaz's fight really just faded away momentarily. So, can Ishraq Rahman try and make the move? Off the road. Off the road. Momentarily went Ishraq Rahman, but they continue on. Here is Ali Arman. Late on the brakes, but that is going to be the widest entry into the corner. And it means that Nirad is back through. I mean, it was such a tight line that it was never going to work out there. But definitely it was great to see the attempt and great to see the braking prowess there. But we'll see what will happen in this battle down towards the next couple of corners. So we're looking in the mirrors with Sombit Dewan. Getting closer. As well, you're taking a look at Ali Arman and Nirad battle 2. That'll be late on the brakes for Devan as he watches this battle goes on. And so he watches the battle go on, and it's Nirad and Dewan who are now the ones wheel to wheel, as Ali Arman gets himself ahead. Dewan is inching ahead of Nirad, who will have to be brave to keep it a long way round. But to be fair, he's still got an inside line. It means they battle into turn number 5. And he somehow still ends up ahead. Great fighting there between the pair. Fantastic to watch. And it is not done yet by one mean. Let's continue the battle into turn 10. Nirad inching ahead momentarily, and Sombit though has it. Oh, contact ahead! Ali Arman spins, as that happens right in our view momentarily. My word, dramatic pictures. We've not seen it that dramatic for a while. We've had some close calls today, but wow. Wow. So what's going to happen here then? So Oh, don't tell me they're going to meet on the... Oh, my word. You have all of the room open in the on the inside and really in the middle, and they're both on the outside just because of the way the lines were working and, you know, the turning angle that they were on. So that's just unfortunate timing, isn't it? And unfortunate stuff. 20 minutes and 40 seconds to go on the clock. And you've got a battle for the lead that is separating the drivers by 1.6 seconds at the moment. So it is very much close, and it very much isn't over between those two drivers. Here is Shadman Sadiq. We last time told you that the gap was 6.6. Look at the gap now, 1.1. And it'll be getting closer and closer. Exiting the chicane. Shadman Sadiq comes on to the start-finish straight. I don't think we're going to get a move down towards turn 1, but surely in the opening sector, or the second sector at least, something will be on, because he's got such a pace advantage. He's got such a big margin. I told you to keep an eye on the first sector. Inside line. Place taken. Shadman Sadiq on a charge. And his recovery takes him to P5. And he's got very nearly 10 seconds ahead. With 20 minutes, just under that, to go on the clock. So, well, it's just a great recovery. There isn't anything else to add. His driving is doing the words. It's speaking the words. Let's, I guess, turn our attention somewhere else while we let him go and chase the 10-second gap. We'll check in with him later, and we'll go and enjoy some other racing in the meantime, including Intaz, who is ahead of Zaman. And Intaz is ahead. Zaman, though, looks to try and stand on the power and remain close. The gap is just over a second now. One thing I am noticing, though, the gaps can very much change very quickly. You could have someone ahead by a whole second, and then all of a sudden you could be looking at the gap at being a tenth. It changes so quick. Which is why battles can emerge out of nowhere. You take a look away from the screen for a second, and all of a sudden we're going side by side. Just a fantastic joys. This is the opening round of the Slipstream Esports tournament. The start of something brand new. And it is a pleasure to be with you up here in the commentary box as we watch these GT3 machines tackle the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya here at the start of our season and at the start of our journey that will take us to Paul Ricard, Zandvoort, and then Spa. 2 races coming up in France and 2 races coming up at Belgium. We, however, will be broadcasting one of each, and of course we'll have the race at Zandvoort as well, brought to your screens. Just letting you enjoy the sounds of the GT3 machinery that we've been going on about, because it's so good. It's so good for racing, and we've been loving having it. Should we go watch from the cockpit? I think we should, and possibly look at an overtake up the inside. And a perfect time to go to that camera angle, because it was one where we saw the driver at work making an overtake, making the move. And that is Ishraq Rahman, who moves ahead. Late on the brakes. He won't make the corner, and that'll be so wide. That'll be so wide for Zaman. To me, it's not even a contest. Our TV Direction team has found another driver for us, everybody. It's Ali Arman who we're watching. And the reason why we're watching him, he's involved in a battle. Because that directly in behind is Shafin. Have to say, a huge thanks to the production team and everyone operating the cameras and the entire, of course, organization for making this possible and for bringing you round number 1. There's been a lot of work that has gone on behind the scenes to make this broadcast happen and to get all of the drivers in this one arena, basically, for 6 races across this campaign. For us to crown our quickest driver. Let's take a look at Ashfika Rahman, because he is giving chase to Ahmad at the moment. Let's see, as we stand on the power, can we see an overtake being made? Are we going to see a switch come in between the pair? Ashfika Rahman is giving very much a chase, and it's a very close chase. Because he's got so much drive off the corner, looking to drive on straight by. It's not as simple as that. Waits, doesn't send it yet. No point sending it because he knows he's got some good pace. So can he now stay close and try and use that pace to his advantage? A bit more on. So the car they're going past is traffic, so just ignore that. That's a driver a few laps down. So these are the 2 that we're focusing on in your picture now. Middle of screen. You've got Ahmad in the McLaren. Rahman in the Porsche. And the Porsche is very nearly going on by. Assetto Corsa continuing to deliver. Fantastic racing. And Rahman trying to get us tucked in behind as they can. And oh, that slide is not going to be helpful. It's not going to be handy at all for Ahmad. Oh! Losing it. And now in the middle of the circuit. And they are going to get a clatter. So, Rahman loses it. And they catch out one of the lapped cars that we were seeing that they just overtook a few moments ago. Dramatic moments as they made their way through, and I kind of held it in the commentary box hoping that they'd be able to survive. But unfortunately that wasn't the case. So look ahead. So you get the leader of that battle, nearly losing it. And then all of a sudden the Porsche gets out of shape, spins into the middle. And then it's too late because it's right at the start of the straight that it was always going to lead to contact. And it did. Okay. The rest of the drivers continue on as we reflect on what is definitely scary stuff at the time. And, you know, they would have felt that driving it. Of course, it's not the same as real life. In real life, with it being a game, you know, at least... Oh! Contact made! Shaffin into the back of our man. My word. That was a bit out of control there for Shaffin. I don't think he was expecting the braking to be that bad into the braking zone there on this lap. So that definitely caught him out. It definitely was a bit of a surprise to him when he nearly smashed properly into the back. And the point I was trying to make is, if it was a real life race and that happened, of course the thoughts immediately go to driver safety, because you never want a car to be stranded in the middle of the road and then another car to come hitting. Luckily the drivers don't take any physical impact. Of course they can still get slightly hurt if their hands are on the wheel and depending on what wheel they have, etc, etc. But moreover, it's just a bit of a dramatic sight that no one wants to see. Everyone wants to see these drivers being pointed in the right direction. But it's so easy to see in real life, in the game. Just a car being stationary in the middle, off the road, and basically waiting for someone to come and hit it, because there's nothing you can do in that moment. And it all happened very quickly. Of course, there was a big crash over the weekend Bathurst, of course, if anyone was watching that. One of 2 big incidents. We just had a car stationary, and it was, well, the conversation of that it was definitely a conversation of, because the yellow flags have been out much more quicker, but that was a real life race, and was Ralph Aaron who was involved in that incident, as Intaz goes deep. While in this case, it's just a case of it's happened, and a few seconds on, someone's coming behind, which there's nothing you can really do to help. They would have seen it, and then they're like, oh, where do I go, left or right? And at some point you just end up straight in the middle, and then it's too late to try to take avoiding action. Okay, let's take you through this battle for P8 and P9. Zaman throws the defensive shape. Intas trying to force it the long way round, and he's got through into the braking zone. Nice stuff on the brakes there. And Hussein has lost out to Shadman Sadiq. So that happened at the same time, which is why I took the very long approach with words there. So that's been going on. Let's take a look at our top two, because we've not really watched them too much, and the reason why is they've got such a dominant advantage. Ali Arman's had a moment, I believe, somewhere on the circuit. They're dropping down our timing board. Wonder whether that was contact with Shafin, because I can see that they are being... we've got an icon next to the name indicating that something did happen. Is this the replay to explain to us what did happen? Okay, so that's wide. And yeah, contact. Okay, so that's what happens, and that is why we... And another case of a car nearly being stationary in the middle of the road. We were just on that conversation a few moments ago. But no. They get away with it. 9 minutes to go, by the way. The race can fly by. It's very important that we actually keep an eye on the timing board, because, you know, sometimes the race can just fly by and you're already like, oh, we're already at the end. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Ooh, off ahead goes Shafin. Perfect time to cut to the battle. So, Yasser closing in. The gap is 0.8 of a second. Good braking there from Yasser, and now it's all about, can you follow closely through the next few couple of corners? And if you can follow closely, then a chance could present itself to make an overtake. And as I mentioned, an overtaking chance can really come out of anywhere. Out of nowhere. As off the road goes Shafin. Yasser was nearly on course to join him, but instead he takes the place of P13 and makes his way by. Not the moment that Shafin would have wanted there. Okay, we've got just over 7 minutes to go then of our opening race of the SS Esports Championship, the Slipstream Esports tournament. Lots of special names and drivers in the field who have kept you entertained. Some more than others, because some have been busy with their dominating at the front. And you have to give them applause for their pace that they've demonstrated today. And then also in the mid-pack as well, you've seen plenty of racing and action being delivered. So well done to all the drivers. Well done to all the drivers in the field. Takes a lot to go out on the circuit and do battle in this way, so well done. Even if they are running near the back, for keeping going on maybe what has not been their best day, and not a day that they will want to remember. We though, of course, overall, on an overall scale, will be remembering it. because it is a big day here, as we already mentioned. A pleasure to have your company, and we thank you for joining us. But we still want to have your company for the remainder of the broadcast, because we've still got 6 minutes to go. And all of the information that comes post-race 2. This is turn 4 Repsol. And this is your race leader at the front. Made up 2 positions. In the early stages, we asked the question, could Omar come charging back and put the pressure on? The answer has been no. Sultan has had this well under control. And the gap has been 3.4 seconds to the man in your picture making his way through turn 7. Omar, who is very much been running nicely today. Ahmed is third. Just running you through the order pretty much now. As well. Our brilliant TV direction team on task as well throughout the entire race. Bringing you all of these pictures. Ahmed just there getting past some of the lap traffic. And this is Shadman Sadiq. Now, compared to some of the drivers ahead, who've been pretty static in their positions for the majority of the race, Shadman Sadiq has had to make a lot of overtakes, and actually trying to give chase to try and get P3 in a podium spot at the end. He's got 3.7 seconds. Oh my word, he's had to cut over the road because of lap traffic that was in the way. But Sadiq trying to, well, give chase to Ahmed. They're both in BMWs. And they're both battling for the final spot on the podium with 4 minutes to go. Here is Hussein, P5. Abdullah Ayaz, P6. It's been a decent race for him, involved in some battling as well. Shafin is coming into the pit lane right now too. So, with the final minutes of the race taking place, I mean, it looked like we were, in for a great battle, but Sultan has ensured that's not the case. He's kept his gap at the front. It was 1 second for so long. It was 1.5, then it was 2, and now it's 3. 3 seconds over that his margin right now. But still, it is 3.7 seconds. It is still so close, and any mistake, anything that goes wrong, could see a dramatic shift in this race. Not, of course, trying to curse it, but just putting it out there that anything is possible in the Slipstream Esports tournament. What you've seen today, and even more beyond, is what you can expect from races here. The next 5 that we're going to be seeing. 3 more of them on screen, including next time out, round 2. At Paul Ricard. And we'll also be bringing you Zandvoort and one of the races at Spa. But yes, the other race at Spa, along with the race that we have at Paul Ricard, one of them, one each, will not be on the air, but we will make sure that we bring you the relevant information of what took place and what you have to remember, what you have to note, rather, is a better way of phrasing it. What you have to note from the previous race, and where does it leave us? Where does it leave us? Especially for the final round of the tournament, as we look to crown an overall winner. It'll be so important to have that context, and we'll make sure that you have it. Okay, just going to bring you a bit of a replay. We've had this Porsche in your picture before. So this is what happened earlier on then. So this is where, yeah, we thought. So the Porsche had a good chance to attack there. They would have had a chance to make an overtake. And I was getting very much ready for that, because they would have seen the car ahead then get loose. And then they get loose themselves, and I thought for a second they just about halted it. But they didn't. So it was very dramatic. As they were stationary in the middle of the road, and we've already described that to you. And had a whole conversation on it. So I will not bore you with repeating myself with what I said earlier. Instead, we will take a look to this battle for third that is going on. Abir Ahmad and Shadman Sadiq. Shadman Sadiq looking to try and recover. And you know, you've had the top 3 in qualifying. All have the best pace today in the race. Shadman Sadiq has had a different one. But can Shadman Sadiq make this overtake? Can he do it? So 1.1 second is the gap, but we've seen already how much Shadman Sadiq can bring it down, but time is not on his side. It's running out. Fascinating stuff then at the end. 0.8 of a second is the gap. 0.5 it was momentarily, so it's ebbing and flowing. Shadman Sadiq has got a chance to take 3rd position. The clock is at 0. As we join this battle back live, Sadiq has got an opportunity to make this move, but can he find the route by? Can he find the way through? Running really, really close. Important exit now coming your way. Out of turn number 9. Sadiq all over the back. And this is one of the last chances that he's going to get. He has to now pick a move to try and make. It's the outside line. Late and deep on the brakes. But he's compromised his rival's line. Better traction off the corner. Wheel to wheel we go for 3rd position. And Shadman Sadiq is going to recover all the way to the podium. 3rd position in the final stages. And he has fought his way by. After the drama that he had of the opening lap, he has fought himself all the way to 3rd. At the front of the field, Sultan has taken the win by 4.7 seconds to Omar, who's going to be in 2nd position. And Sadiq makes his way into the pit lane. But they're coming over the line. So Sadiq had gone over to that position. I'm unsure whether he'll be reinstated, but it's Ahmad who's being recorded in 3rd on our timing board. It's a bit of confusion there. But nevertheless, Shadman Sadiq, a great recovery drive. But Sultan's taken the checkered flag first and won. Omar in 2nd. We couldn't show you it due to the incredible battling that was going on between Ahmed and Sadiq in the final stages. It was fantastic. It was thrilling to watch. As we're taking a look now at the final positions as well. Just outside the top 10, Rappin trying to get the power down. And we've got a lap car in the way. P14 and 15 could be interesting. I guess that could be the next battle that comes in. Oh! Yes, they've taken the flag. So they can now have a bit of contact, I guess. The race is done. They've taken the flag. But here's your race winner. As I mentioned, unfortunately, we couldn't show him. We couldn't show him earlier because of the battle that was going on for 3rd. But a deserving winner in the end. Sultan. Doing donuts, or at least attempting to, then finding out that there's someone blocking the way. So it's Sultan the winner, and here's Omar in 2nd place. A deserving top 2. They deserve to be in the positions that they are. Congratulations to them, and yes, as I mentioned, apologies to them that we couldn't show them over the line. But those are your podium sitters from the first race of the Slipstream Esports Championship. And Sultan is your winner over the line. And now it's donuts. And now it's celebration time. Okay, now the drivers will be reflecting on what was quite a chaotic race. And one which would have had them quite aware across the entire time, because there's not a moment which you can kind of slightly calm down to any degree due to what was going on. We take a look at a replay of some of the moments that were taking place. And I guess some of the funness as they came over the line too. this is the moment the drivers can celebrate. What a opening race! It was a chaotic start, it was a chaotic first few minutes, and then there was a bit of a lull period, and then it was exciting near the end too. So it had pretty much a bit of everything, didn't it? I think it is fair to say. It was a race which had lots at the start and lots at the end. So what a contest it was, and what an opener to the Slipstream Esports Championship 2. Okay, well that brings an end to our coverage. From the commentary box, I want to thank everyone who has joined us on this historic night. It has been a pleasure being your commentator. My name has been Omi, and you have been watching round number 1 at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We will be back for round 2 at Paul Ricard, and we hope to have your company there. Goodbye.